face to face with evidence of my insecurity. I've never considered myself to be an insecure person because I never really felt like I needed to be. There's a difference between being insecure and being self-aware. There are instances of myself that I'm self-aware of things that need to be improved or changed or that's disgusting. Like I talked about my weight in the pictures. Y'all didn't get a chance to see it, but I'll show y'all when I get back. But so when I make this trek, I usually go back across the street this way. And ironically, when it goes around this little island area, it all ends up in the same place. And I've been living here 3 years or more now, right? More than 3 years. And when I first got here, you know, my life has been a struggle. I think it's just meant to be that way, okay? I don't know why, because I'm single, I'm unattached, no kids. I should have no problems getting any and everything that I want financially and otherwise. But when I first moved down here, I moved here from Orlando because I was living in this apartment in the hood, in the ghetto. And the reason I was living there because I was living out of my car before then, and I was happily doing that. It was great. And actually, I was paying more for storage fees than I was for rent, you know. And I was happy doing that because I didn't have any bothersome neighbors that were loud and rowdy and annoying, right? But what started happening was the police started sneaking up on me, and like they were making me really uncomfortable. So I was like, I need to just go on and get somewhere to live. This is stupid, you know. But I was fine. I lived like that for a couple years, and I was happy. But and actually, that's what my end goal is now, is to do that again. I want to minimize everything and get a stealth SUV and live like that. That was fun because it was absolutely minimalist because it had to be. So let me show you guys this real quick. So yeah, usually I walk across and go that way. And I didn't realize I was doing it until just now because I was like, why? And I had to show you the crossroads to give you the full impact of it. Why would I cross the street right there when I'm going to end up in the same place anyways, right? Because I'd have to come back over and end up in the same place anyways. And then I realized what it was. Subconsciously, I wasn't aware because I had been doing it for so long. I was doing it because I wanted to avoid a few places. One is, when I first moved down here, I had to go back and forth between, and I'm going to walk right past it. I had a few different places I wanted to avoid. So, and this place here happens to be the last place, this car place. And I'll tell you all about it when I get back up this way. But the first place is this place up here. It's like a little barbershop up here, right? So here's the story behind that. When I first moved here, you know, I was back and forth, you know, because I had like 3 truckloads of stuff, 26-foot trucks from Orlando. And I didn't want to throw all of it away because if I wasn't going to be homeless again, I wanted to validate my homeless experience. I wanted all of that stuff with me. This is all the stuff that was in storage, right? And, you know, I never want to get rid of it. I wanted to get rid of it by making good use of it. So to be a graceful getting rid of it, not just throwing it away as if saying, you know, that part of my life is trash, because it's not. It's not, you know, it's part of my journey and my experience, and I want to keep it. So, like I said, back and forth to Orlando renting U-Haul trucks. So I would look on the internet for approved U-Haul people or whatever. This is a Martin Luther King. Let me show y'all. Martin Luther King. And it means nothing to me now, this Martin Luther King stuff. But so I wanted to, this bus driver still looking at me. But I wanted to, so back and forth. So I would look up U-Haul on the internet and find like the closest local place. So this place, this barbershop that I'm coming up on now, it was the closest local place. And I was so happy when I got there. You know, the person that was there, I looked at that person as a clerk. And, you know, he rented me the truck or whatever. And I don't know, I think I needed it a couple more times. I couldn't find any more trucks or something. And so I asked him to work something out with me. He said he would. Let me tell you how fucked up this was. He said he would. And I was like, great, okay. And then I was like, ooh, you know, I was thinking about starting a business and all this other stuff. And it turned out that he had this business, his barbershop. And so I was thinking, wow, I must really be doing good. And y'all must know I played myself real bad. Because when I first came down here, you know, the first night, The Valdosta Welcoming Committee welcomed me, helping me, quote unquote, with my truck or whatever. And that turned out to be something completely different. Then this happened. And, and I was so excited because, again, a homeless person or ex-homeless person, I mean, anybody that's doing okay in life, you're just happy that you have access to it because you're hoping that it would better you too, And I'm like, oh yeah, you have your own. And I was like, that's what I do too, I'm starting my own, whatever. And so we exchanged numbers, whatever. And then, he said he was going to work something out with the truck or whatever. So I was like, okay, fine, no problem. And then, so I bought the truck back with the little Valdosta Welcome Committee guy. I bought the truck back. Didn't think nothing of it. But I didn't realize how small of a town Valdosta was. I don't know what kind of word got around or something. But next thing I know, the dude is sending me, like, he wasn't sending me those types of messages before. He was sending me straight up decent messages. Then he started sending messages. And maybe, I don't know, is it inappropriate if he reached out to me one time and I was like, oh, I'm taking a bath right now, and then he was just like, oh, should I come over? And I was like, what? And I was like, well, maybe because it's a small town, if you mention a bath, then that's like some type of come on, which it was not. Y'all know I'm just open. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just blow that off. But then it continued on each subsequent, try to attempt at communication that he tried to communicate with me. And I was like, this is so weird, And then I thought, well, maybe it's because Valdosta is small and that guy might have said something or he saw somebody or somehow they're related. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But I really thought I was gonna do good down here. I was like, oh, I made some friends and family. No, I didn't. But then the kicker of that, I didn't think nothing else about it. I was like, just don't contact me no more, right? Because I was like, this is really not beneficial to me at all. So I'm thinking everything's good. He's taking care of the truck. It's all done. So next thing I know, loud ass train. Here we go. So y'all can take a look at it. So loud, so annoying. And this lot too, this is where the Welcome to Valdosta guy helped me put the truck out. But this wasn't so bad. I think this is so scenic, like this little picture right here, so scenic. And across here where these red bricks are, that's real nice too. Okie dokie. So yeah, so I'm out of breath just from standing there. So yeah, so I didn't realize I was unintentionally avoiding walking that way, and I didn't realize how much out of my way I was going until I looked and saw that I was crossing 2-3 lanes of traffic, and then just to end up, I would have just ended up back over here, like where this little park thing is, in the same place, and walked right back over here, which is so stupid. And I was like, I can't believe I'm doing that. That's retarded. And I've been doing that for 3.5 years, and I've walked this way like probably 10 times, more or less, right? And I realized that's why I was doing it. And what made me realize that was that when I was walking up towards, I didn't finish telling you the story about the barbershop guy. So I didn't know what was going on, but the next time I had to rent a truck, I went to this place to rent a truck, and those people are decent people, right? It's a little shop a couple streets down from my house. Ow, ow, ow. I got a cramp in my finger. A couple streets down from my house, and here's some more scenic historic Valdosta. So I guess I could just do it this way, but it's cool. But yeah, so I went to go rent a truck again, and then the person that was renting me the truck, he says, there's a hold on your account. I was like, what? Why is there a hold on my account? And I was like, everything is good. It should be good. And he was just like, I don't know. You have to call them, because he's like a franchisee, like the barber guy was, right? So I called to U-Haul, and they told me that I have an outstanding balance of 100. I don't know how much it was, probably more than that. I don't know how much. I was like, what? And I was like, that can't be, because I returned it to this place at this time. I even spoke to this guy. I had his personal number, and I even texted him and told him that this is all in and whatever. And they were just like, no, it's showing that it was kept a whole day extra. And I was like, what? And then I was like, well, where? And then they was like, it's like 1,000 miles. And I said, 1,000 miles extra. I was like, no, that can't be. And then what happened, I guess maybe he, quote unquote, did a favor for somebody else, because it said that, I don't even know anybody in New Jersey, that the truck was driven to New Jersey. U-Haul truck was driven to New Jersey and back. And I was like, I don't even know anybody in New Jersey. I've been nonstop moving back and forth. You know, that's crazy. So that barbershop guy, I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional. Maybe he was being nice at me at first, because again, I just got here, and you know, really, I do have big hopes and dreams. I had, and maybe it was more believable to people when I first got here. And then because of Valdosta, I'm showing y'all the scenery, that's all. Because of the Valdosta Welcoming Committee, the impression got turned around. And not only that, but because, you know, I'm saying, hey, you know, can you work out something with the truck? And so maybe that gave off cheap vibes. And then he's continuously asking me to go out on a date. And I'm like, where? You know, and then that's why I went to Friendships, because I wanted to see what it was about. And it was the corniest place ever. It was okay, but it's not for black people. It's for white people. It really is. If you're white, it's a nice ambiance for you, really. Or black people that like white people. So if he brought a white girl up there, yeah. Yeah, so then, and they told me that somebody drove it all the way to New Jersey. I was like, that wasn't me. So maybe he's trying to hook somebody else up, or maybe he intentionally did that because he was just like, oh, fuck her, you know? He didn't seem like that type of person. That's why I say, depending on who people think you are, that's how they treat you, you know? So yeah, that was not a good experience, but they did clear it up and they took care of it. And he's no longer doing U-Haul, but he wasn't going to be doing it anyway. And that's another thing I learned about me and my experience. Like, if I have a bad experience with somebody or an undue experience, if something happens to them, it wasn't solely for my sake or my benefit. And I say this because when I snap it around like that, I'm just showing y'all the different, I like the scenery. I like it. I think it's very rustic and quaint. I like it. Right? But beautiful Valdosta. But it's never because God said, "Oh, let me give vengeance to somebody else." Vengeance always happens to me. You know, I could think something wrong and something bad happens to me, but I think it doesn't. It may not be God controlling it. In the end, it might just be your own conscious control, how your mind was trained to interpret and to manifest things, right? So if these people don't have any type of conscience, ain't nothing gonna happen to them. They don't have a conscience about it. They truly, sincerely don't give a fuck. And some of these people, the way that they've been raised, probably haven't given a fuck since they were little, because they never were taught to. And they were never taught, if they were taught in school, like everything that I learned is from school, basically. Because you remember, my mom's not from here, so she really didn't say anything. She kept it low. Whatever the school said is what it was, So I didn't have anything to compare it to that, hey, some of this stuff may not be true, Whereas these other people that are trifling don't have no conscience, all their life, they may have been raised on, with crooks and criminals, like real genuine crooks and criminals that robbed and stole to stay ahead or to keep up appearances, So they don't, and murdered too, all of that stuff. They may not have that, but that's, so my conscience is what rules me, because that's the way I was programmed. We're all biological property. I was programmed by the system, but they haven't been programmed like that. They're legitimately illegitimate crooks and thieves and stuff like that. They don't operate that way, so they don't have a conscience. They can do stuff like that, nothing will happen to them. Like I said, I think of, there was an employer that I had, and all of these folks are doing just fine. I walked by and the place was closed down, but, they told me they were moving. But, and it wasn't just shut down completely, which, I would have been, even though it's evil to think that, I would have been happy about it because, somebody actually stood up for me for once. But no, they just moved like they said they was. Let me show you another view, alleyway. Yeah, so nothing happens to those people, and it's because they're conscious, the conscience that they're raised with. And that's why I think when you have legal things and things like that, they say, when you watch these legal shows, they say that you have to say that you regret or you're sorry, because that means that you're invoking that conscience into you to feel bad about it, But if you don't, then there's a chance that you will do it again. If you didn't do it, if you did indeed do it. But if you didn't do it, you're not going to feel that because you didn't do it, But then you will, and this is another a brain trick that's played. That when I went through that legal thing, I went around and I started interviewing random people, like asking them, had they ever had a legal situation where they falsely accused, and how they feel about it. And the people that I talked to, they were like, well, they try to justify it. They would say like, well, yeah, I didn't do what they said I did, but I did so much bad stuff in my life that, it's worth, it was worth it, So they were trying to justify, because who wants the feeling of feeling that you didn't, like I said, you feel better if you actually did something wrong, because then you can do something about it. But if somebody, that's the equivalent of being raped. Somebody took something from you. They took your innocence. They took your innocence in thinking that there's a just system, and there's nothing you can do about it, So that's what it is. But like I was saying, it's good and bad and everything, Each life that we have is no better or no worse than somebody else's. It's all in the perspective or perception that we live in. Because for me, for the most part, because I'm not as pure as I used to be, I admit, before legal, I was like damn near 200% pure over the top. After legal, I started dwindling little by little. And now I'm about 89%, if that, And if that, because you live in this world, and then when you experience more of the world, it rubs off on you. And the evilest thing that's rubbed off on me is the legal system, and seeing the truth behind it, and being exposed to all the different things that really happen in this world via TikTok. I've had people before that tell me things, but I was like, no, that's not true. You're just making that up. But it's true. It's true, People have their individual stories that they share. It's really true, And I don't feel any way disadvantaged, with not knowing those things, because I think, like I said, every life that we live is made to be lived just for the purpose it was given to be, So, it was meant for me to be just almost purely pristine, innocent until damn near 40. You know what I'm saying? It was meant to be that way, and for me to slowly have the truth about everything revealed to me. But talking about perception, though, because yesterday I was on live and I'm so thirsty. I drank this like in 2 gulps. I was on live. Oh, I can cross the street. I don't know why I'm waiting, but go ahead, honey, because you done started already. Hopefully this person will let me go. Thank you. But I do have kind of a dark perception of work because I've seen different things. But there was one person that joined on. I've seen him here a couple of times, and what he said was that he's happy with his job. He's happy with his job. He's happy with the place that he lives. And his third goal in life is to have a family and children. My goodness. And I don't have no reason not to believe that person, so I believe it's true, But for me personally, how do I feel, I personally, I'm like Tommy, I ain't got no job. I've wandered from job to job. And I'm not happy with any that I've wandered to. I always have big hopes when I find something that I almost like. But then something happens that I am exploring me, because that's the only thing I can change, my emotional intelligence when it comes to these things, I can't keep running. I can't keep running away. But also I'm not going to stick like I did before and allow it to affect me mentally, physically, and otherwise, right? And then where I live, I'm happy that I have a place to live. And I'm happy that it's okay. It's as good as bad. If I become a better person as financially and all of that, I can make it into the best place in the world, But if not, I'll be mediocre just like the rest of the surroundings, mediocre or less. I'm going to cross the street, but I don't know. So, So really, it all, like I talk about houses and stuff, it's all based on who occupies it and who takes care of it. Because the house that was in the corner by Piggly Wiggly that I was looking at a long time ago, when those Spanish people lived there, wow, it looked like a mansion. It was beautiful, right? But then, some white folks moved in there, and it ain't a mansion. It ain't beautiful like it used to be, But it's okay, When I lived in the house that I live in, it's okay, It's okay. Could it be a lot better? Yeah, but it depends on the person living on it. If I can make it a lot better, or I don't intend to make it worse, but I can definitely make it a lot better if I'm doing better. So I need to do better because I want to make that place better because I've been living there for a while, But it's the very basic things, basic things. And I'm realizing that, there's really something that I have to fix with me, because if I can't afford a washer and a dryer and I need one, and to think, when I was younger, I was purchasing them for other people, So it's something that because there's no excuse for me not to have. Almost 50, I'm not in the best of shape, but, I'm functional. I'm functional mentally. I'm functional physically. I'm functional, Unless the real disability is that you don't have any, that you're not a narcissist, that you're not manipulative. Maybe that's the true disability, that I'm not manipulative. But we'll see. I'm working on it. I do have things that I see that I would like to improve, and I'm working on it, and I'm willing to do that openly where everybody can see it. I don't mind. Why don't I mind? Because I don't have any family. I might as well let y'all see it, so somebody sees my progression or digression. But that can be a dangerous thing. I was watching shows like For My Man and stuff like that, and this is what they say, half of what they say is not true, but they were saying how this one girl, she was doing real well, everything, she dropped out of school to follow this dude, and basically she didn't have a family and stuff like that, so it was just like, that's how gangs get started too. People adopt other people's, just to be accepted. And now I'm out of breath because I can't do a whole lot of walking and talking. But I think I've done good so far. This is my number one workout. I have another workout that's supposed to be coming later on. We'll see how that goes. As long as I have errands to run, there will be workouts completed.